Number 6 on our list is the seller finance program. As I said, 20-something years ago, we began selling houses using a lease option contract. And that's all we've done for 25 years. When the SAFE Act came out, there's a lot of interpretation about what you should do, but there's not much question about what you shouldn't do. You should not, you cannot originate a mortgage without a license. If you are doing what community owners did 10 or 15 years ago, with a promissory note, an amortization schedule, an interest rate, that's a mortgage. And you can't do that without a license. And if you do, you're going to get tagged sooner or later. I don't know of any, well, I shouldn't say, I heard a few years ago about a community owner who, I think it might have been a retailer as a matter of fact, who was originating mortgages and got a cease and desist order, maybe got fined. So we know what we shouldn't do. Mortgage law is very complicated and it's state by state. So regulations like the SAFE Act are federal legislation which are interpreted at state levels, and consequently some states are more receptive to it than others. Georgia, for instance, and Texas, where we operate, tend to be two states that are very not opposed to it. And there's probably a dozen other states that we know that are also fairly receptive to this idea. So in a seller finance program, obviously we want to be a dealer. We want to buy the right home for our market. What used to be an office where people just came in and paid rent needs to become a sales center. It needs to look like a sales center. We need a marketing and advertising program. And in my opinion, a lease option program of seller financing. I will say though that there are alternatives out there to seller financing, and Ken Rischel has a program where he will help you implement a captive finance program, which is certainly a viable alternative to lease option. In terms of marketing and advertising, Maurice, can you, I guess, hit replay? This is a little tricky. The pad doesn't work, Maurice. I have it on the mouse. Just use the mouse. There you go. This is something that we've been using for about a year now. We have tried doing full videos, and what we found, and you probably find, is that if you do an entire video, it takes a lot of time. You got a lot of time to do the video and a lot of time to edit the video and add the music and the captions and so forth to it. This is a company that we ran across, as I say, about a year or so ago, and it simulates a video presentation by scanning across still photographs. And we found that if we put 4 photographs in, it stays on the photographs about long enough that it does a 1 minute, a little bit more, maybe minute presentation. But it's worked out really well. Mario has handled most of those for us. And Maurice, if you don't mind playing that one more time, I want to point something out. But it's been really good for us in terms of an alternative to a full video. You'll notice over here are the captions of the 4 different pictures. When you enter the address of the property, it automatically creates a map for you. It also identifies schools that are close to it. It generates a flyer based on the detailed information that you put in here and the photographs. So this one service, and it's very inexpensive, but a couple $100 a year or something like that, for an unlimited number of these, they call them tours, these video tours. So this has worked out very well for us. I like this idea. When this finishes, Maurice, if you would hit, I guess, escape to go back, and then shift F5. And go down to the next slide, and then do the shift F5. Okay. I have a handout in the back of this. These are some houses that were at our SECO show in October. This one is a river birch, 14 by 66. But what this handout shows is the financing that we did to acquire the house. We dealt with this American Commerce Bank here. So this section refers to the house, the cost of the house, setup, skirting, decks, air conditioning, and things like that. This section refers to the acquisition financing, and this section down here refers to the lease option financing that we did on the house. And I have several examples here. Here's a Champion 28 by 52, basically the same format. Schultz is a division of Clayton, and we had one of those at the show and bought that one too. So if you're interested in how we structure a lease option transaction in terms of the financing to acquire the house, and when we turn around and sell the house on lease option, pick up one of those handouts. This is an article that I wrote a couple years ago, and then we updated it a year later. George published this for me, but it talks about the lease option transaction, and what I'm doing in that article is basically parroting the legal arguments that my attorney made to me and then made to the state of Georgia when he told them I wouldn't be using my Safe Act licenses for lease option. I also have a website that talks about lease option, and I'll give you this website at the end, but I've tried to post articles that other people have written and that I've written about the whole idea of lease option, and we've got sample transactions and sample contracts and so forth and so on. It's posted as much as I could on that website.